Hey folks, this is Brian. We managed to get together again, sort of, to run. It's going awful slow. Running my Runequest Glorantha campaign. We started Chapter 2, a troll raid. And well, I had one player who I knew was not going to be there. Another one, I had suspicions probably wasn't going to be able to make it. But I had a third who didn't show. We're still having some tech issues with one of our players. But we did have a new player coming out, so that was good. He was actually a really good player. I really enjoyed him playing. But anyway, so Chapter 2, a troll raid, begins with Lars, our Lancor Mai philosopher sorcerer, getting a knock on his door. Lars, help! I need some help. Turns out that his younger brother is married to a scribe, and she was doing some contract stuff. She was doing some special work. She was hired to do some research, and so she was at the Johnstown Library, which is a Temple of Lacrimai there, and she ended up being missing. They weren't sure what she was doing. And so the temple sent some riders to go to Clearwine to meet with her family. Hey, did she come back? She's not there anymore. We don't know what happened. That kind of thing. So the younger brother is really stressed. And Lars decides, well, here, I've got some friends that we've been doing some investigation stuff with before. They can probably help us out. And so they go to the holding where Carreen, our Asari's noble, lives. And there's a mash there together of our Orlanthi farmer and our Orlanthi fisher actually work on the lands there. Our Dakafal shaman supports that holding. And our new player is a Shalana Roy priestess. Well, not full priestess, but that was her occupation. As a healer. Yeah, that's right. Shalana Roy healer. And so she is married to a younger brother there in the holding. So she is there. That's the new player. So that's how she got pulled in. And so I had a map of the Kalimar Wilds, and it's got a distance scale on there of like 1 inch is 20 miles or something like that. But I've got another map of the same, or encompasses that area, but its scale is different. And I've been kind of, after the session, I started debating back and forth about maybe I need to adjust these time distance schedules, because it takes 13 days by road. Well, it is dark season, right? So it's wintertime. The weather's bad. These are not major roads, so still 13 days. It took 13 days for the riders to leave Johnstown and get to Clearwine. Well, actually 12 days. So that day to the holding. And so while we're playing and we're discussing time distance things, it starts to occur to me going, this is probably taking way too long. Because that's, okay, she's at the temple during dark season doing the research. It takes 2 weeks for the riders to get back. Technically take them 2 weeks for the party to get there. The season's almost over. So maybe I need to adjust some things here. But the party decides to go ahead and cut cross country. They go up the road to Farwine, and they cross country through the hills to, I've forgotten the name of that town, and they follow that up to Redbird Village and then on over to Johnstown again. Short amount of time, but it's more dangerous. And the way I mechanically enacted that was, if you're traveling on the road, you're stopping at places to spend the night. And it does, you got 10, 15, 18 miles in between settlements and things. which makes sense because when you're building a civilization, first thing you do is you travel out travel out a day's travel. That's where you start building. The next guys will expand further out. They travel out a day further, and they build. And so it makes sense that it worked out that way. But so if you're staying somewhere at night, you don't need to worry about nighttime encounters. But traveling cross country, you're going to have nighttime encounters. Now, it turns out I went ahead and I rolled random encounters using the HeroQuest Star Trek Companion. And there were like 4 encounters, if I remember right, going along the road. But only one, actually, traveling through cross country. And I did have, when you're traveling cross country, I have them make survival rolls just once a day because they may get lost, that kind of thing, right? And they did get lost for one day, but they were able to get back on, get reoriented and continue on. And the last day, first thing in the morning, because I have 2 day rolls and then the 2 night rolls, and so that was the first roll in the day were 2 giants. Well, giants, 1 to 2. Turned out for this encounter, it was 2. One was 8 meters tall. The other was 10 meters tall. These are fairly large giants. Not gargantuan by any means, but certainly not, just, 3 to 4 meters tall, right? So these are big giants. The party said, "Oh, we just packed." Well, they made some rolls, some listening scan rolls as they're setting up, as they're tearing camp down. Sure enough, they hear and Lars actually spots and can see the giants, and they're grabbing rocks. So he gets everybody, hurry, gather up, let's take off, because we do not want to engage these guys. And sure, they don't. So I gave the giants a D4 worth of rounds of throwing rocks at these guys to see if something will happen. It'd be just 2 rounds. The first round they missed because they're extreme range at this point. But on the first round, the second guy rolled a triple 100, a complete fumble. And I didn't think about it at the time, but I should have just pulled the fumble table out just to give me some guidelines on what to do. But I just said, hey, okay, this guy strained himself. Pulled his back, shoulder, something, right? So he's out of the fight. He tries to heave the rock, complete failure. He's out of the fight. And that actually gives me a reason for the Giants to try and chase these guys and follow them. So, but the other Giant, on his second round, hit somebody. So I rolled, okay, there's 6 of them. Who got hit? Number 1. Okay, who's in front, guys? Lars, since he's kind of running the show, says, okay, I'll be in front. Okay, you try to parry the shield, or you're going to just try to dodge. I'm going to try and dodge because I don't even want to take this rock with the shield. And luckily, he made his dodge roll, because it turned out to be 20 points of damage on his. It would have been 20 points of damage on his left leg. Crunched. So after that, the Giants try to take care of each other, and the party gets off. So that was the encounter during the travel. Not too bad. A little exciting. Something larger than I was expecting or hoping. Now I take it back. When the party had got lost for a day, I had them roll. I rolled again for encounters, and it turned out that there was an encounter. I had previously rolled up, I think it was like 3 different wilderness encounters to back up in case something did happen. They got lost, and I had to make some rolls, and something would happen out. But in the heat of the moment, I completely forgot that. So I rolled random encounter, and it turned out to be a lunar patrol. Now, HeroQuest is sent prior to the Dragon Rise. So I've been trying to mesh my mind around, okay, these aren't standard lunar patrols traveling around because it was occupied at the time, right? But there are Sartarite patrols going around, or Sartari patrols running around as well. So I was kind of thinking, flip-flop kind of situation. There's still going to be lunars out. They're going to do reconnaissance patrols. There's going to be raiding parties. They're coming down from Lunar Tarsh because they're still fighting the war. I mean, yeah, they took a huge setback and lost complete control, but they're coming back. So this was reconnaissance patrol, right? And so I had them make some hide roll, some listen scan rolls to see if they spot the party, and then some hide rolls to hide from, because This is reconnaissance. They don't want to be seen. They do not want to be seen or engage. So that happened. Then, so I had the party make some listen rolls. They hear something up in the hills. So looking around, they make some scan rolls, but they didn't make the scan rolls. So they didn't see anything. So they knew something was going on, but Lars is under a time crunch. He needs to get out because his sister-in-law has been missing for 2 weeks. So they bypassed that encounter. Okay, so they get to Johnstown. They get inside. They hook up with the lead librarian. They've got a question-answer period going on. Okay, when did you find out she was missing? What do you think happened? Where's her room? What was she studying? Do you know who she was working for? That kind of stuff, right? And some back and forth. The guy who, the librarian that managed the checkouts, came up and was talking about, she was doing some research on history in the Hendrinky lands. The one librarian initiate that was the last one to see her came down. They talked with him, and she was working on some stuff, but he didn't see her leave. I mean, he was just walking through, saw her there, went back to doing his own stuff. And so what's been pieced together, and is kind of the running theory, is she looks like she disappeared on the night that there was a troll raid on the town. The trolls had snuck up, took out the gate guards, crept in, went up to the hill, grabbed a bunch of cattle. There weren't a whole lot left because it's darkness season, so the big push for the cattle sales is pretty much over. So they grab a handful of cattle, load them up watch beetles, and take off. And they start torching some buildings on the way out to keep the city guard busy while they take off. And it was after that they noticed she wasn't around, so they kind of checked and weren't able to find her. So that's when they sent the riders out and say, hey, did she go home? Did she travel by herself? What's going on, kind of thing. That's kind of what's going on with the story. They go and check out her room. They got like a boarding house for non-local librarians who are using the library. And I should have thought this through, but I just had to make some luck rolls. Turns out she's got a roommate. She shouldn't have had a roommate, because if she had a roommate, the roommate would have said something, and they would know that all of her stuff is still there, and so that would have thrown some red flags up. But beyond that, the party finds out she's got a roommate. Yeah, all of her stuff is there still. And talking with the roommate, they find out that she'd been hired by a woman while she was at the Trade Time Festival at the Sundong Temple. And she was getting paid decently. They found 100 lunars in a bag there with her stuff. So she's getting paid pretty easy. I imagine that's why she was so excited about doing this kind of thing. And she was pretty dedicated. She was staying up late. This wasn't the first night she stayed up late. There were plenty of other nights where she was staying in late, right? Back at the library, they were trying to track down what books she had been working out and checking out. And there was a book on the history of Smithton within a certain set of dates. And that book's missing. And you don't check out books from the library, right? So this is all research stuff, right? So that raises a few eyebrows in the library. When they're in the room looking around, they are able to find some of her notes. One of them mentions a date and something about a flood, and then just some miscellaneous dates and data about the area and that kind of thing. So trying to piece together what she was trying to research on. They get with the town guard on this whole troll raid and that kind of thing, and did anybody go out after them? They went outside. They tried to follow them for a while, but it's dark season. These are trolls going into the hills. We're only gonna go so far. It's only a few cattle. The merchants can suck that up, that kind of deal. And so they get that kind of story from the town guard, and they're looking around each other. I did have the two characters of the PCs that weren't there come along. We didn't really involve them. I had to make them a couple roles when they needed some help, that kind of thing. So you've got the shaman, you've got the farmer, You've got the Philosopher Sorcerer. You've got the Healer. And you've got the Noble. And this is a party of trolls. They're thinking, we probably need some help. So they ask, hey, are there any mercenaries in town or people who are willing to hire out, that kind of thing? And the lieutenant of the guard there says, well, there is mercenary types that come in there. One of the old lunar houses has been turned over into a boarding house for those types, that kind of thing. And so they go over there and they give their spiel. They don't have a lot of cash on them, but the noble puts out his deal that, hey, if you come with us, you get to share the treasure, and I'm good for XYZ kind of amounts of money, a were guild, your ransom kind of thing. Her ransom worth. There we go. That's what it was. Her ransom worth. And he missed his rolls. He tried oratory and he tried to fast talk out of that. Neither of those worked. So the Lankermai Philosopher Sorcerer, the brother-in-law, uses his love family to augment his orate roll, and was successful in getting across, hey, this is my sister-in-law. We need to find her. We think these trolls snagged her. We're not sure about how, because 2 different areas, different locations, that kind of stuff. We're not sure exactly how that all worked out, but we think that's what happened. If you come with us, again, to share the treasure and her ransom. And so I kind of rolled to see, what can we do? And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, what kind of NPCs do I have handy and available? Because 1, they need some real fighters, and 2, they need somebody who can track. So I figured, okay, I'm going to pull the 2 Humakti initiates from Darkness at Runegate, and I'm going to pull the Hunter from the Player's Handbook. Those would be the 3 guys. But I didn't have all that up and ready, and so we kind of said, okay, it's 10:30 my time now. Do we want to just stop? Here's a good stopping point. You've got hirelings if you need them, that kind of thing. And next time we meet, if we got everybody, we can see if we still need them or not. And everybody kind of bit off on that. It was good to go. So it was a fairly normal. We usually go between 2 and 3 hours. So it was a normal session, but it did seem kind of slow. And yeah, there's some stuff going on. The role play with one of the players having some tech issues did not go as well as we had hoped. We had moved from Google Hangouts to Discord for this one. And I also moved from going wireless to hooking into my LAN, which improved things a ton. But we were still having some issues. I still was not able to record this session. Something's going on with my capture software. I did download an update, so hopefully that'll fix those issues. But I'll experiment with that during this next week, see what's going on. But anyway, that's the beginning of Chapter 2 of the Chronicles of Carreen, a troll raid. Happy gaming!